What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, here with a short little 2-video deep dive into Frank Zappa's most recent release, Halloween '78. I'm going to review it, talk about it, not play music from it, and generally just kind of tell you what's on it, music-wise. We're focusing on the music. I'm going to let you make the decision on whether or not it's worth purchasing, whether or not you need a Halloween mask with Frank's face on it. That's a you decision. I'm just going to talk about the music because that's what I care about the most. So, this is a 5 CD release. Back in fall of '78, Frank did 6 shows prior to the big one, the big Halloween one. He did 2 on October 27th, 2 on October 28th, 1 on the 29th, skipped the 30th, and then the massive, nearly 4-hour show on Halloween, which pretty much at some point seemed to represent some aspect of Frank's career. It was a smorgasbord of Frank highs and lows, to be honest with you, but the lows being necessary to make the experience complete. We'll get to that in the next video. So in this box set, there's 5 CDs. The first 3 CDs are the Halloween show in its entirety. The second 2 CDs are the first show of that run, October 27th, 1978, the early show. So I'm going to talk about that show in this video. Back way long ago, decades ago, when the internet was a baby, I did this all web page dedication to these shows. I'll put the link in the description. Kind of look like this, which I broke down each of the 6 shows and ranked them. And in doing so, I did have the Halloween show ranked as number 1, and I did have the other show, the October 27th show, the one that we are getting, ranked as number 6. But that was on a tape, wasn't complete. We were missing the Awesome Peaches encore. So yeah, now I have it in official sound, and so I'm going to talk about that show and talk about these 2 discs. So anyways, this band, it's the first tour with Vinnie Colaiuta, first tour with Arthur Barrow. Mars and Wolf are still around on keys. Ed Mann is still there. Denny Wally is back after being there for Bongo Fury and then doing his own things. Ike Willis was on earlier in the tour but left around the middle of October, at which point Patrick O'Hearn joined, so we had 2 bass players. And at this show and for this run, we also get special guest appearances by L. Shankar on violin, the Bionic Parrot, in the time-honored tradition of having a fantastic violin player. Sugarcane Harris, Jean-Luc Ponty, Eddie Jobson. We now have Al Shankar. Fantastic stuff. So here's what we get on disc 4, the first October 27th show. Opens up with a track called 10/27/78 Show 1 Opening. Band comes out, you hear them tuning for about a minute. Patrick O'Hearn starts playing some funky bass, kind of reminiscent of his solos from like late '77, winter '78, when he would drop some solos there. Vinny comes in, they kind of start jamming a while. Frank comes in and tries to get a solo going, but nothing really happens. And so we get this little pocket of Frank just kind of playing. And then he kind of stops, and then he gets another pocket of him playing. Nothing really happens. So he kind of gives up and goes into the intros. So we don't really get a solo per se, as much as we get just some sound check style riffing by Frank. Interesting start, but it sounds amazing. Really cool to hear Ed Mann like tuning up in the background. Really cool just to hear like this version of this band and what this is going to sound like. And Dancing Fool, the first song, immediately pays off because Vinny is a friggin' beast. The bass playing, whether it's Barrow or Hearn, throughout this entire show is absolutely amazing. Just the sound of this band is cool. A lot of it is carried by the keyboardist because Ike Willis is no longer there. Denny Wally is the only guitar player, and he does some guitar stuff, mostly slide, but he doesn't bring that guitar sort of weight that maybe other bands have. And so a lot of this stuff is carried by the keyboardist, and then the rhythm section just going absolutely insane always. Vinny would get more insane in future tours, but he's still pretty insane early on. So the Dancing Fool is just made listenable just because the band itself sounds amazing. Then we get an Easy Meet. We got Vinny's Seal Calls in there. Easy Meet in City of Tiny Lights in '78 and also in '79 have what Patrick Busby, a sort of Zappologist on the internet, referred to as the death vamps. Just these plodding, just like dun, just grinding them into the ground. And so they didn't really uplift Frank's solos as much as possible, as much as they just forced him to just get really aggressive and really sort of attack mode. And this Easy Mead solo, pretty good solo, nice, heavy, aggressive, just completely fuzzed out, complete, just pure, like raw energy solo. There'd be better Easy Mead solos, but it's still nice to hear. We get a Honey, Don't You Want a Man Like Me. Very rowdy crowd that you can hear in this. The crowd is really into this. This is a New York Halloween crowd, and you can hear it. Keep It Greasy. Barrow is the star of this. Not one of my favorite songs ever, but the bass playing on this is pretty ridiculous. The Meek Shell Inherit Nothing. Some great synth sounds. Love the bouncing of the bass playing in this. A City of Tiny Lights. This is the one that has the drum keyboard intro. I am interested as I'm deep diving through the tours elsewhere on this channel to try to figure out what the apex mountain of City of Tiny Lights is. I don't think it's this tour. The intro with the drums and the keys, which is like the Shake Your Booty intro. Not my favorite intro of these, though it is good. We get a Denny slide solo with some Denny scat screaming in the middle of it. We get a really aggressive Frank solo over Death Vamp number 2. And then we go back into like that theme that closes out the solo before we finish off the song. Pretty good, fun City of Tiny Lights, but it's still, this one would develop and go different places and had been different places already. But then we get, without a doubt, the highlight of the first show, probably one of the highlights of maybe the entire 5-disc set. We get a 16-minute Pound for a Brown on the Bus. We get Mars scatting through the theme, which is pretty cool. We open up with an Ed Mann percussion solo, some awesome bass playing during the solo. Then we get a Shankar solo. Vinny is much busier. As soon as Shankar starts soloing, like Vinny starts stepping up. Like he won't be getting on Ed Mann's toes, so now he can go a little bit crazy. There's a lot of tension and release in Shankar solo, a lot of volcanic activity that doesn't really quite erupt. It kind of goes back down and then gets volcanic again and goes back down. Really nice, intense Shankar solo. Frank comes in and pretty much just builds his own solo from scratch. Like this Frank solo, which is about 3.5 minutes long, is worthy of just being like cut out of it and released on like a future like Shut Up and Play Your Guitar Part 4, whatever. This is a fantastic standalone solo that is just amazing. High energy attack, a little all over the place. It's got this great just on an island in the middle of Pound for Brown that doesn't really feel connected to the rest of Pound for Brown, but it's just a fantastic solo. Really, really good stuff. After that, we go into the keyboard solos with a really kind of tweaked walking bass line that keeps running through these, giving us this weird jazzy feel, but not, because it's always mutated anytime it's like gets too walking-ish. It's got a sidestep to the left or sidestep to the right a little bit and throw us off. Really nice moment towards the end of this where everybody drops out except just the 2 keyboard players. We get this just nice wash of synthy sounds for like a minute and a half before the band comes in for the finale. Nice little funky tight jam. But an excellent 16 plus minutes of just instrumental prowess. Each little solo, Man solo has like a different rhythm section than Shankar solo, which has a different rhythmic vibe than Frank solo, than the Mars Wolf solos. Everything about this is just fantastic. Then we get a Bobby Brown Goes Down. No intro. There was intros in 77 and winter 78. Intro's gone, which is a good thing. We get a pretty straightforward Conehead. Unfortunately, he encourages a sing-along, Remulac, which we don't need there. This goes right into Dance Contest. This is this is the full-length version of the shortened version of this intro from Tinseltown Rebellion. So this is like a full 5.5 minutes of him setting up the dance contest. And then that is where disc 1 ends, which is kind of perfect, because then disc 2 kicks off with the Black Page number 2. We get the little dance version of that. We get a little dance contest aftermath when Frank's clearing the stage. They're kind of jamming on a tweaked version of Conehead, which is pretty cool. And then that goes into Little House I Used to Live In. For this tour, Little House I Used to Live In is Ian's piano solo intro arranged for a full band. It's awesome. After that, they drop into a keyboard solo that mainly focuses on Mars. Pretty sure this is Mars centric. And then we go into a drum solo that's pretty fantastic. Been listening to a whole bunch of Winter 76 and 77 shows, which have Bozio drum solos. Really interesting to compare to a Vinny drum solo after all of those. Awesome little house I used to live in. The piano keyboard stuff is fantastic. The jamming there is amazing. We get a Magic Fingers, which feels really slow compared to like that 80s version with Vi on it, but it's still really fun to hear. Absolutely love this. Magic Fingers should have been played more often. It's like 2.5 minutes long. Let's drop it in every tour. Then we get the entire Don't Eat the Yellow Snow suite. Love some of the synth sounds in St. Alfonso's, just the way this particular mix is compared to like that you can't do that on stage anymore, the Chicago mix. Just some neat synth sounds in there, especially during the St. Alfonso section. Then he does a Let Me Explain This to You when he apologizes. This is after Don't Eat the Yellow Snow, prior to the encores. He apologizes to the audience for playing Dynamo Hum. It's like, I know some of you hate it, but some of you love it, so we're going to do it for the people who love it. I apologize. And I have to admit, the instrumentation just sounds great. This band just playing this song just sounds great. And they kind of tear through this. They just like, and at the end of it, he's like, okay, that was a ritualistic experience. It's folklore at this point. We kind of have to do it. It's time-honored tradition. Let's move on. We get a Camarillo Brillo, which just feels so fast. Bass is good. We get a pretty standard Muffin Man. And then as a nice closing treat, we get a Peaches in Regalia to close out. Fantastic. So those are discs 4 and 5. And they don't compare to the first 3 discs. I have not yet listened to these first 3 discs, but I have listened to the actual show on cassette tapes, so I am familiar with the show. I know how awesome quite a bit of it is. And this one really is kind of a warm-up to that. It is interesting that this is the one that they chose to release. I haven't read anything about this yet. I've only listened to the music, so I don't know if like the other stuff was incomplete. I know they have like stuff has been like variations on Sinister 3, right? Is that what it's called? That guitar solo is based. Anyways, there has been stuff from those other shows that is in the official catalog. So it's interesting that they haven't released. This is the show they chose to release, when I do think each of the other 4 shows other than Halloween is better than this. Just has better song choices. This is a pretty standard set list and pretty standard jams. And we really don't get a lot of solos. We don't get an opening solo. The Easy Mid is good, but not great. City of Tiny Lights is good, but not great. Pound is great. Pound is great. But then that's it, right? We don't get another guitar solo except for like Muffin Man. So we're light on the Frank guitar solos on this, which is always, I think, a negative, right? We want more Frank guitar solos. So, but anyways, yeah, those are my thoughts on discs 4 and 5. Super excited to get to Halloween. It's like near 4 hours long. But I do think, I think the Chicago 78 is better than this. The set list is different, that we don't have a Pound for a Brown. But the Pound for a Brown is the thing that's absolutely making this kind of essential, because it's really good. And Frank's guitar solo is really good. But yeah, that's all I got for now. Those are my thoughts on disc 4 and 5. And then in a couple days, we got Halloween. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this show. We'll get to the Halloween stuff later. You know how it works. But yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. If I were to rank these, disc 4 is better than disc 5, because disc 4 has the Pound for a Brown on it, which is awesome. All right. Bye. Peace. Talk to you later.